All right, we are back and Focus on You with Phil and Oscar. And
Here
we
we are.
have our special guest back in the house. None other. There you go. Ransom Davenport, the myth, the legend.
Not the Messiah, though.
No. As long as we can go in that realm. No, man.
How you doing today, Ransom?
I'm doing well, man. Here in Kentucky, it's an amazing, amazing day. As we're gearing up for the Derby, that's coming along very nicely, very, very soon. So people are excited for that. Now that happens in Louisville. I live in Lexington, so that's where all the horses are raised. I think we covered that last time.
Right.
But people they're gearing up for it. It's an exciting season in time. So
wait a minute. How do you pronounce Louisville?
They pronounce it Louisville. Louisville. It's supposed to be, Louisville because it's King Louis, but Louisville, Louisville, all the different ones. Yeah.
All right. So I go to Kentucky. I'm going to say Louisville. This way, I'm like, oh, that's
right. Because you ask them Louisville, they'll be like, "You're not from here, man." Louisville. You're gonna lull it out there.
That's like if you're in New York and you say Houston Street, now we just we'll beat you to death because it's Houston Street here.
Houston. Love it, man.
So yeah, today, we know that you are an ULA life coach. So if we could just tell the folks what does that mean? Like,
sure.
Describe what that is.
Well, ULA is a part of what I do. So I'm actually a coach. I come up with a new term. I'm a mantrepreneur coach.
Oh, nice.
So my mission is to help men really, you like that, understand what it is first to be this amazing creation called a man. Mm-hmm. We've lost that somewhere in translation. So figuring out what that looks like, then helping every man become a mantrepreneur. So to own something of their own, it doesn't matter how small, how big, but something. It's not about the income. It's really not about that. It's about really understanding what it takes in order to do those things. Because when you step up into those spaces to become the mantrepreneur, it causes you to grow in such a level. It's not about just income. But also, too, I feel that most people have something that they want to do. They were born designed to do, but they're not doing it because they're under someone else's umbrella of protection. They need to step out from that. So I help men to be able to do that. Then also work with high level performers of, sports, athletes, things like that. So these are the gamut of people that I work with. I help them also to focus on identity. Is an amazing piece to people to find their identity, because a lot of people they duplicate what they've been told to do. They haven't really truly found who they are. So we work around doing that, and then setting goals that are balanced in life. Normally we'll start with ULA just to help them find balance because they're so out of whack, out of balance. Then be able to do that. And then we proceed with the other levels. It depends on the client when they come in, like, okay, basically have a conversation. What's going on? What can I do for you? So that's what I do. But ULA focuses on balancing the 7 key areas of life, which are
Right.
fitness, finance, family, field, faith, friends, and fun. Now, field is your career. People get confused on that one. And faith
Not
is
farming, you know.
not farming. Exactly. We're not, we are, I am Kentucky. So this is an international company. It
Right.
was birthed here in the United States, but it covers the gamut of international. So also too with the faith aspect, that's not the Christian faith, it's not Islam, it's not Buddhism, it's not that. It's having faith in something bigger than yourself is what it really pulls down to.
Nice.
So we take those areas of life, examine where you are, where you would ideally like to be, and then help you create a plan for that, then a path so you can actually accomplish it day by day. So at the end of this life, which we're all going to come to that stop eventually, right? You guys shake your head.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah. I mean,
yep,
that's the truth.
that's it. When we come to that end, have we accomplished what we're here and made to do? Because that's part of what we speak to is that, you were designed for this massive, amazing purpose. You're not an accident. You're not a mistake. You're put here for a reason. Have you accomplished it?
How do you help people find that? Because what I find is most people have no idea because they went to school.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy said you got to be a lawyer.
Right.
Mommy said no, you got to be a cook. And you never really kind of took that time to find that thing. How do you help people find that?
That's a great question. So what I do is I focus around three words that normally come up that for men that are those points where that energy, that identity, that piece got introduced. Somewhere along the line, they were unheard, unseen, unsupported. So either one of these three or all three, they'll find that. And in that moment, when you find that, where your gift was challenged, where someone challenged it and told you, no, you should do this, and you knew that you were supposed to go the other way, is going back to that moment and understanding that. It's really a lot of revelation for them. It's not me telling them their moment. What words do you hear in that moment when that happened? Do these words resonate with you? And so they have to actually go in and sit with it. It's not a real quick answer. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I can identify that moment like that. Sometimes the words come up are unworthy. They, something around self-value. So they are stuck in that place. And so I do a lot of work with that too, helping someone to really open up and have their value and to really see who they were designed to be.
So it's basically an inner tour of themselves.
Yeah. Sometimes that can be really scary.
Yeah,
you go into some of the rooms and you're like, man, I forgot. You ever done that? You ever been in a room, like, let's, for example, put a food bowl down. You put it in a room, you don't think about it. You can come back, something like that. And you come back, you're like, oh, it's rank. Garbage hasn't been changed. Someone leaves, they go on vacation. You ever done that?
Yeah.
Garbage in the house. You come in, you're like, whoa, God. Oh, it's that stinky, nasty thing that I left sitting in the room. Wow. And you don't know that it's causing a major issue. But then when you find it, you're like, oh, and then doing the work around that in order to get that corrected so that everything else, because with personal development, there's the mistake. A lot of people try to take personal development and they hang it on this frame that's not designed for it.
Yeah.
Just put on another mask and another mask. And so extends it, gets really heavy on your neck.
Yeah.
Instead of taking it back to where this truly is. Let's quit putting on a mask. Let's work with what we have.
That's so cool. Because that you now you're talking to people about being authentic.
Mhm.
And that is, I think that is the hardest thing if you haven't done the work,
Mhm.
like that inward work you're talking about. And I think you do really need somebody to, for the most part, to help you, to guide you through that. So we're,
Yeah.
we're talking about like entrepreneurial leadership,
Mhm.
and how important is knowing yourself as a entrepreneurial leader?
You must, if you're going to lead anyone, you first must lead yourself. That's how it all starts. If you're not leading yourself, how can you expect to lead anybody else? You can do it, in my experience, for a short period of time.
Mm,
You can do it. You can lead them, lead them, lead them. But eventually, the pressure of leadership, when it's not based on the true core of who you are, starts to fail. You
mhm.
can't properly lead the people because you're leading from an imposter. You're not who you're supposed to be. So that imposter wears out. It's like oh, you ever seen people walk around like people in the gym who want to pretend to be all muscular? They walk around like this all the time. Eventually, oh gosh, they get worn out. Instead of pulling your shoulder back, just posturing, presenting yourself, being full in your presence, this you can sustain. But you can't sustain, strutting around. You get worn out.
One
Wow.
of the things that we're, constantly as a child, you're taught, don't act this, we're going to be in public, you know, basically don't be yourself, be this to this person, be that and you're wearing, and again, your mask at work is different than your mask at home, and your mask with your fraternity buddies. Those are three personalities that you can be. So which one of those are you? And can you use the hanging out with the guy's personality at work? You can't do that. So how do you become like, we are different personalities depending on where we are. So how do we get to our real personality? What masks do we have to take off to say, okay, this is me, really? And if you don't like it, too bad.
Yeah.
Growing up in the Bronx helps that, because it's like, yeah, it's a you problem, not a me problem. My whole life. So.
I love it, man. And that's it. And that's part of it, for the reason I'm at the Southern charm, the politeness. You don't want to ruffle feathers. You don't want to do that. But here's the thing about it: to lead, to be an entrepreneur, you have to, like, it has to happen. Because if you're making sure no one else's feathers are ruffled, who's are going to get ruffled?
Mhm.
Yours. You've got to be true to yourself. Otherwise, you're going to wake up one day and you're not going to know who you are. You're not going to what you accomplished, and all those people that you've been trying to mask and lead by masking, then
Mhm.
they're going to see it one day when it slips down. I've
Mhm.
seen this in other businesses I've worked with, people like, and then when their mask slips down, it's ugly,
Ugly. It's
ugly.
ugly.
It's game
It
over.
really is.
No,
You
because
can't put
that's
that one
that's
back
like,
on.
yeah, because
Right.
that's like that. You know, an accident. You get in a car accident, and you don't see the immediate wound, right? You feel okay, boom, oh my god, but I'm okay, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm okay. Then you go home and you sit down for a little bit, and now your neck starts to hurt,
Mhm.
and then your head starts to hurt,
Mhm.
and then your back starts to hurt,
Mhm.
because the immediate impact, because of where your mind and body was, you didn't feel it at first, but eventually over time you start to feel those damages. And I think that's what happens with people, is that the more you ignore a wound,
Mhm.
is the worse it gets, till you don't even realize that you're walking with a limp.
Okay, I got a story for you, right? Like, it's amazing how all these things play out. So, just a brief story. My stories always have a purpose. I
Yeah,
love to tell stories, but
I
I
love your
believe they should
stories.
have a purpose. The greatest teacher that I've known, he told stories a lot, and he told good
Absolutely.
stories, and
Yes.
they really impacted. So, I'm going to use one from his playbook. So, it's amazing that you talk about that. 2017, an electrical contractor during that period of time before I did this. So I had to take a small break from coaching and things like that. Just I had to figure out some stuff. My father had passed. It was this energy of taking over his business and all these different things. I ended up doing it. Here's advice to anybody out there, young men, old men, whatever. Only become who you want to become. It takes so much time to go the other direction. I'm just saying, just
to be somebody else.
So we'll do that blip real quick. And so I was going up these stairs and I have what's called a hammer toe. I had a toe that was broken. It looks literally crooked like this. And I stepped and missed a step and it dislocated. The thing, I mean, like it was all the way over here. It didn't look like it had toes. They x-rayed it. The toes were crisscrossed. It was making an X. I'm like, good night. And so I had that reset. But there's the thing about it, I've been dealing with that for a while, and I'm actually going to get surgery to get it repaired. But it's after a while, you don't realize what it's doing to you, like the effects. You've learned to kind of move around it, but then once it gets fixed, it gets repaired. You're like, oh my gosh, I was dealing with this the entire time. How effective was I?
Right.
I mean, really, in my step, in my walk, in my gait. You see how this plays out in life. How effective can I be without this getting repaired?
Wow. Yeah, because your performance is limited, but you're saying, well, this is my best performance. But is it? Right?
Yep.
Is it really because you didn't tend to this, now your best performance is limited because you chose to ignore what needed to be fixed. Wow.
Can I do a quick story
of pain? What's that?
Can I do a quick story? I mentioned this to someone yesterday. I just remembered it yesterday. I worked in a place that a dental lab, and the dental office had this huge 200-gallon saltwater fish tank. And a woman that I worked with came in on Monday with a goldfish in a jar, and it's been swimming around in this little circle. Said, my son won it on Friday, and we've had it all weekend, and we don't want to keep it. You think I could put it in there with the other fish? And I'm from the Bronx and I have this sense of humor, and I'm like, yes, that'll be fine. So what the amazing thing was, when she threw it in there, this fish had 250 gallons to swim in, but it kept swimming in this little circle. It never got out of that circle. Well, it lasted for about 30 seconds, and a fish came out of nowhere and just ate it in one shot. But
wow,
that limiting, like you said, you have a problem with your toe, and you're just doing whatever you need to do, but never fully said, all right, I got it fixed. Now I can run. Okay. I don't think you can run with a hammer toe or your toes crossed.
Very challenging. Very challenging.
I remember that little fish is like, he had all that place to run and hide and do whatever, and he just kept going in that same little circle that he was doing in the jar. And that's us. We're limited to this running around in our limiting belief jar.
Exactly. And there's perfect analogy too. So now he's going here, it makes him an easy prey.
Right.
He's got all the space. You've got all this space, and here we are as the ability in the greatest country, in my opinion, in this nation, to go out and create something on your own, to try something. And you're swimming here, so it's easy prey. Life comes up and swallows you when you've got all this vast array to use your ability to create something amazing.
Wow. I feel like this conversation is just so deep. It is so deep. It is so relative, though, because even as guys, you say you're ministering to men. I think men especially need guidance in that journey, because we have associated leadership, we have associated manhood, we have associated everything around our ego. We've built fortresses, imaginary palaces around our ego, right? And so, it's like, how long can we pretend that something didn't affect us? Right? I remember just growing up, when I was growing up, and it was like, you get all these dictations. This is what a man is supposed to be. Men don't feel, men don't hurt, men provide, men do this, men don't fail, all these things, right? You're like, yeah, okay, right? And you go out there, but nobody even tells you how all this is supposed to happen. It's just a matter of this is how you are. And then when you find yourself missing the mark on all those perfect expectations, it's like, now I'm a failure.
Here's your man mask. Put this on. Don't take it
Right.
off.
See, now that's what I'm talking. We've learned how to put the macho right on the forefront. And you know how much crazy glue and duct tape it takes.
Depends on how sadistic you are. You might use screws or staples. I'm just saying. Some people,
Yeah,
I mean, literally. And here's the thing about it. I'm jokingly, but people want their mask so hardcore. If it keeps falling off, I have to have this.
Right.
How much do they drive their head against the wall, even leadership and things, to keep their mask stuck on? I mean, I jokingly said that, but do you think about it? There's some truth.
No, it is. There is some truth, because we go through, depending on how insecure we are, depending on how much approval we need, depending on how much, we're driven by the naysayers that say, well, you'll never succeed. All these different driving tools that you keep in your mind, and you use it as a definition of your person. Eventually, it's like, even though you're wearing a mask, even though it's not you, it's fake. It's fake. You're like, no, wait. Is that a knife? That hurts. But
one more screw will hold it on this time.
Right.
I think I really love, Ransom, that you're focusing on that, because I could see even in myself how in the past and even now that I cleave to progressiveness and learning about myself. And I figured out that even just through scripture and through studying, getting that closer relationship with God, and with my understanding who I am and who I am in my own self, my own body, that I have to keep learning about who I am, because who I am is constantly changing. It changes, it changes rapidly. I'm thinking even daily, I find myself coming to different conclusions about who I am and what I'm about. And I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. How many of us are the same person we were 5 years ago?
Hopefully not many. If you're still the same person, there's no
and if
growth.
you are, something
there needs to be some growth.
There
and
needs,
that's what happens.
Yeah.
People get into addiction, they get into drugs, they get into alcohol, they get into sex, they get into everything under the sun to try to fulfill it, because they're not being filled, they're not being creative, they're not growing, they're not moving.
Everything in nature is either growing or dying. There's no, I'm gonna hit this, I'm a peach, there we go, I'm ripe and I'm going to stay ripe for the next 6 months. Like, it's ripe and then it starts to rot. Mm-hmm. So if you're not growing, if you're not venturing out of your comfort zone, you're rotting. Things that don't move rot. Water that doesn't move gets stagnant.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the thing about it. The energy has to go somewhere. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It simply changes form. So if anybody's out there and they don't prescribe to the God thing, try to argue with science. Here's the whole piece. It shows itself. It reveals itself. It's going to change forms. So if you're not taking in that energy, this want and desire, and creating a positive movement forward, it won't create a negative movement forward. Right. It's going to expand. The universe expands. It's going to do that. So that's where, with the leadership piece too, is how are you going to lead? By not leading, you lead. But also then you can have a positive flow, you can lead. By not leading, you lead. We as men, it's ordained, it's set up in this place. Here again, people can argue with it if we're talking about the creative piece, like, no, I don't prescribe to that. Cool. That's fine. Look at statistics of when a man is in a home and not in a home for children. Look at the statistics of, just all those different parts and pieces. You don't have to take my word for it. Look it up. And so there is a place where we're designed to lead. And when we don't lead, we're even leading. That stinks.
No, that's true. That is so true. Here's the thing. Every car needs a driver. Well, right now it does.
right now.
Right now it does, right? But it's like, but even if you have an AI driving you, there needs to be somebody who has the plan, who has the direction, and who has the vision of where you're going. And I believe that I'm a full supporter of independence, and but we're interdependent. The mindset of I'm independent of myself and I don't need anybody else is baloney. Whoever told you that, I'm going to say it right. Yeah. Baloney. Okay. We are interdependent of each other because we help each other grow, even the positive and the negative. The positives and the negatives are a part of life. That's the basic structure of energy. Negative and positive coming together to create energy, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So this life creates that positive and negative experience. And the negative is there for you to learn from it. There's nothing that is, the positive is there for you to learn from it. If all we have is positive experiences,
you know what? There was a.
Can you imagine that?
There was a Twilight Zone, way back there. Some guy was a gambler, and he's always losing and everything, and he dies, and now he's in heaven. Every time he plays, he wins. He never loses, and like he starts getting tired of playing and winning and playing and winning, and he says to the guy, "What kind of heaven is this that I play and I win all the time and I never lose?" He's like, "You're not in heaven, you're in hell." So even like winning all the time now, it means nothing.
No.
It's like, hey, there's a saying, when you're going through hell, speed up. Don't stay there. It's like, oh man, I'm having a hard time. Get out. Just keep going faster.
So I wanted to ask this question before you left, because I had this question in my whole, I was like, I'm going to save this one up for Ransom. I mean, this is my...
Toss it up as an alley-oop.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Come on, warm up for this, right?
I can take
it. So if you should define what a good leader is, what would be your definition of a good leader? And describe that.
That's an amazing question. So to encompass both a masculine and nurturing energy, it is one that can lead, that can give, but also then can receive. It's got a reciprocal. It's not just about you being the forefront. It's not position. It's not at all about position. It's about willing to take the back seat position in order to have other people's elevated. True leadership that lasts. You can do together, it's not going to succeed. So true leadership that lasts must be built upon things that will outlast you. So you have to be able to examine those things and look at them. And that's self-examination, and also positioning people around you who will tell you those things. So you have to, like you're talking about, work with other people to define the leadership that's needed. I can't just come in and say, here, these are the leadership pieces. What is needed in the moment to lead? It has to be able to be changed. It's not organizational, it's an organism. Leadership is always an organism. It's changing, it's moving, it's growing. Everything that's an organism has organization. Not every organization we as humans make seems to be like an organism. So leadership must be alive and moving and active. I think that's good. I like that.
I like that.
You had me pause for a second. It was like, Oh, wow. That was a deep answer, man.
So you're saying a leader has to be able to be led first.
Mhm.
You can't like, that's it. I know everything.
Mhm.
And I'm going to lead. And then you go off a cliff.
Right.
You know, it's,
Right.
you're saying, yeah, you have the masculine, the feminine energy, the leading, but sitting back. What do I need to know now? What don't I know that I need to know to go forward to lead?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great. The way you put it, saying expression, you don't know what you don't know till you don't know what you don't know. If you're unaware, then, you know.
And we can never know everything. That's the reason why there's wisdom in counsel. There is wisdom in a group of counselors because we never know everything. And even though we may trick ourselves into believing, well, yes, I know everything, I'm good at everything, you're lying to yourself because there is somebody who is better, who can make you reach your goal faster. You know what I found with, and this is why we on Phoenix Network, we developed the motto, when you win, we win.
Mhm.
Because I found that winning together is a possibility. There is really no need for you to step on anybody to win. In fact, you can win a whole lot faster just by partnering with people versus, you know, trying to beat them down so you can get to the finish line. Because both of you now are using both your energies, both your strengths to win.
What is it?
You cross that winning line together. You're not alone up there going, "Wow, I did it!" And you leave a trail of butchery behind you.
Like
right?
they say, everyone you step on the way up, you're going to need a hand from on the way down. So that is not a good way to do it. We were talking about, I got a great example of knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah.
You know the definition between knowledge and wisdom?
Go for it.
Knowledge is knowing a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad.
Like it.
I do.
Good. Very simple.
Comes up with these things, man. That's amazing. Oh man, Ransom, it is awesome having you on, my brother. This
Great
is
to be here.
Amazing. Every time that you come, you've been on twice. We got to have you on again. We got to have you on again. I think the folks are seeing a trend with having ULA coaches on.
That's it, man.
It's the ULA wave.
Yeah, there's a wave of ULA going through. Yeah. And so I'm really excited about these relationships, and really want that to continue. So thank you so much, my friend, for coming on. And if anyone would like to reach out to you, share your information.
Oh, I'm gonna give my blurb here.
Yes.
So you can research me. One of the good ways to do this is I have a YouTube channel called New Bold ULA Life. So that's a way to get on there and see a little bit of what I do and what I do off to the side. Then also you can contact me at ransom@ulanetwork.com. So that is ULA is OOLA and then network.com, and contact me that way. So those are really the best avenues to reach out. And yeah, we'll leave it at that.
You live it. Okay. All right. Awesome. So reach out to Ransom at some point. We'll definitely have him on our app and our platform so you can reach out to him a little bit easier. But for now, you heard it. Go there right now. Don't procrastinate. Don't say, well, I'll do this tomorrow. I love what he said, but I'll do this tomorrow. There's no better time than now. All right. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you again in a few minutes with Mikhail, and he's going to be talking about building generational wealth. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.